Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make a buttermilk cream cheese pound cake. So let's get started. First, we want to preheat our oven to 325, so let's do that. Okay, so while our oven preheats, let's look at what ingredients we'll be using today. We have 3.5 cups of flour, 1 cup of buttermilk, half a teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, 3 cups of sugar, 6 eggs, 1 block of cream cheese, 2 sticks of butter, vanilla. So first we want to add our butter to the mixer. And we're going to just cream the butter. So when you start cooking, you want to make sure that your eggs, butter, and cream cheese are at room temperature. By having those ingredients at room temperature, it will make blending much easier for you. Okay, so now that our butter looks pretty whipped, we're going to just scrape that down with the spatula as it's nice and soft. Okay, I'm going to add the cream cheese to the blender. Now I'm using my handy dandy KitchenAid mixer, but you can also, if you have a hand mixer, it will work just as well for this recipe. We're gonna take a moment and scrape down the sides and blend everything one more time to make sure that our butter and cream cheese are well mixed. Now, as you can see, the butter and cream cheese are pretty well whipped together. So once I get this consistency, I'm going to slowly start adding my sugar to the mix. So I'm just going to put that on a stir speed. Slowly adding my sugar. Stop here and just scrape down the sides one more time. By scraping down the sides, you ensure that nothing is stuck to the bottom and your batter will be well mixed. down our sides again. And if you're using an electric mixer, the attachment you want to ensure that you use is the whisk. Okay. So now I'm just going to set this to a stir speed. And as that stirs, I'm going to slowly pour in our 1 cup of buttermilk. Let's scrape down our sides. Now your batter will be quite thick, and that's normal. Now as the buttermilk is creaming and mixing well with the sugar, cream cheese, and butter, I'm going to add in 2 teaspoons of vanilla. My personal favorite is Mexican vanilla, but any type of vanilla will do. Some people prefer a clear vanilla, but I promise dark vanilla will not change the color of your batter. All right, 1. And 2. Slowly we'll start to add in our eggs. You want to add in 1 egg at a time to the mixture. And you want to make sure that you do this slowly because you just want your eggs to be folded into the batter. Two slipped out there, but that's quite all right. Next, we're going to add our 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. We're going to stop here and scrape down the sides. I just want to make sure that nothing is sticking to the bottom of my mixer bowl. Okay, now we're down to our last ingredient. And here I have 3½ cups of sifted flour. And I'm just going to slowly pour in some of the flour to my batter. Now I only do a small portion at a time so that as it mixes in, flour dust won't get everywhere. gonna pour in the last portion of my flour. Now I'm just going to let my batter mix for just about 30 seconds to make sure everything is folded in well and lumps are removed. Now I'm going to do one final scrape down. Okay, let's do our final blend. Okay, so I'm going to remove my whisk. Okay, and there's our batter. Nice and thick. So here I have my bundt pan, and you want to make sure that your bundt pan is well greased. Now, I pre-sprayed my bundt pan as well as put a little butter inside. That helps to make sure that your cake will release easily from the pan. For this amount of batter, you want to make sure that you have a pan that will hold between 10 to 12 cups of batter. Otherwise, as your cake bakes and rises, you will have spillage and overflow. And let's face it, no one likes to clean up the stove. Okay, so I'm just going to start pouring my batter into the pan. Okay, now what I like to do is just give my pan a few shakes to even out the batter. And then I give it just a few taps against the counter, because if there are any air bubbles inside, you will help those rise to the top. See, there's an air bubble just about there if you guys are able to see this on camera. And here's another one here. See how it just popped open there? That's good, because we don't want air inside of our batter. Okay, so I believe our oven, it has preheated to 325. So let's get this pound cake into the oven. Okay, so our pound cake is in, and we want to let that bake on 325 for about 90 minutes. So we're going to start our timer. Okay, so you want to let your cake bake for 90 minutes or an hour and a half on 325. Under no circumstances do you want to open the door of your oven, because you'll release the heat, and that can impact the overall quality of your cake. The key to making pound cake, because the batter is very dense, you want to bake on a low temperature and slow. So low and slow is the way to go. All right, so our 90 minutes is up. So let's get this cake out of the oven. Smells delicious. So we're going to use a toothpick and test for doneness. It comes out dry. All right, our cake is done. If you have any wetness on your toothpick, there's a likely chance that you have too much moisture and your cake needs to continue cooking. So we're going to let this cool for about 30 minutes before I try taking it out of the pan. All right, so our cake is cooled. Let's get her out of the pan. And came out pretty easy. I don't know if you guys can see that on the camera, but there's just a little steam still coming from our cake. So I am just gonna leave this uncovered, let it continue to cool off. Hope you enjoyed this video and cooking with me. See you next time.